Hi everyone, welcome back. Hope you guys are having a great day. So this is a clip from a previously recorded video. This is a much shorter clip of it. But as always, not financial advice, for entertainment only. Do your own research. And I'm invested in closing companies. And if you enjoy this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out tremendously. And let's get into the clip. So Bitfarms mines 411 BTC in September 2023. That's the headline here. We got some pretty good information from both actually. Bitfarms and Cypher did grow quite nicely here in the month of September. And here's what we have from them. So Bitfarms fully energizes Rio Cuarto at 51 megawatts, expanding total operating capacity to 233 megawatts. They increased their hash rate 9% to 6.1 exahash, which is good. They also improved energy efficiency to 36 watts per terahash with new 28 watt terahash miners. So that's good. They're still not below the 30 terahash mark that we want to see miners get to before the halving event. But they're definitely improving, which is good to see. Here's some insights. Also in September, our hash rate increased 9% to 6.1 exahash, slightly below our Q3 2023 target of 6.3. They're only 200 petahash away from that, which isn't too bad. Reflecting some electrical infrastructure delays that pushed out the Baie-Comeau, Quebec facilities full installation by a couple of weeks. So we'll get that possibly here in October or November sometime. They'll get that to 6.3. Not a big deal there. Also, we continue to pay down debt, closing September with under 10 million of outstanding indebtedness, all of which is scheduled for repayment in advance of the halving, which that's great also because they were at over, I think it was over 100 million at the middle of last year. So they've paid down a lot of it, which is good to see. They're going to be pretty much debt-free going into the halving event, which is going to be good there. And then this is kind of, I was a little questioning this part here. So executing on our comprehensive fleet management strategy, we have further optimized our miner portfolio while bolstering our balance sheet in anticipation of purchasing the next generation of sub 20 watts per terahash miners after the halving. I did a video on this. When was it? I think it was on, geez, I can't remember now. I think it was on Friday or Saturday. I can't remember now. But I spoke about those new sub 20 terahash or sub 20 watts per terahash miners, especially the ones from Bitmain, the new S21s. And based on the pricing and things like that, depending where Bitcoin goes and things like that, it really, I don't know if that's the best choice to do, especially as you go into the halving event. If Bitcoin goes up in price, the price for those miners is going to go up. I would almost prefer them to, if anything, wait until we get into another bear market or something. Get as much cash as you can in the interim with Bitcoin going up in price. Obviously, the network hash is going to be increasing. But that way they can at least have a lot of cash on hand and buy miners on the cheap when we do go into a bear market going forward, which is going to happen possibly in sometime in 2025, 2026, when that cycle starts again. Okay, so that's the only thing I'm questioning here. I don't know if that's such a good idea. September installation of S19 Pro miners in Argentina nearly doubled the number of sub 30 watt per terahash miners in operation and shifted the fleet portfolio constitution. It is now comprised of 23% sub 30 watt per terahash miners, 58% 30 to 40 watt per terahash machines, and 19% 40 to 45 watts per terahash machines. Those are the ones that I would obviously be the one looking to get rid of first, followed by the 30 to 40 watt per terahash miners. And then as expected, we are now well positioned to leapfrog over the XP generation entirely and strategically layer the new sub 20 watt per terahash miners for both upgrades and expansion. So that's also concerning there. I don't know if it's going to be a good idea. I would have to run the numbers. But based on the numbers that I'm seeing right now, I think the XPs are a pretty good bet to buy right now. You're going to be paying a premium on the S21s. But we'll have to see, obviously, where they go and where prices go per terahash on the miners, okay? The recently announced new generation of sub 20 watt terahash miners have the capacity to rapidly drive hash rate growth and increase energy efficiency around having at significantly lower cost per terahash than XP miners have traded for throughout 2023. I mean, the XP miners, you were able to get those at like, I think some got them around $15 per terahash, some were around $20, depending when you bought them and where you were at. They were actually a really good deal at that point, right? I've always stated that if you look historically, the best time to buy miners is during the bear market after a halving event, which usually comes about 2 years down the road, year and a half to 2 years. Okay, but that's usually when you want to really start buying miners. You don't want to buy them into the bull run, especially as prices of miners go up. Okay, so we'll have to see how this works out for them. Here's the updates. Total BTC mined was 411. Month-end operating hash rate obviously was 6.1 exahash, and then their BTC sold was 362. They did hodl a little bit here, added to their hodl position, and that is down here, I believe. Oh, here it is. Increased HODL to 703 Bitcoins in treasury, which is good. Reduced total outstanding indebtedness by 1.9 million, resulting in a remaining balance of 9.9 million at September 30th, which was only a couple days ago, which is good. So they've definitely paid down a lot of debt over the last year, which is fantastic. Definitely improved their balance sheet. So that's good to see there as well. And I think that's all we have here. Yep. So let's take a look at the numbers that I do have for them. We'll go through it all, see where I think they should be valued at, look at analyst ratings and also analyst price targets. But here's what we have to contend with. And I should have updated the price here. So I forgot to do that. Stock price is higher than it was. This was back from, I think, Saturday is when I updated this. But let me pause it right here for you guys, basically. And then I'm going to update this and we'll get back into it. Okay. Okay, so I got that updated. Here's what we're looking at. Shares outstanding right now is 258 million, roughly. Stock price is $1.09. Market cap is at 281,500,000. You can see on their performance here over the last 12 weeks hasn't been great. Hasn't been great for a lot of the miners because since we've had pretty much 10 weeks out of the last 11 weeks we were in the red for the most part on these. So they're down 45% from 12 weeks ago, 32% from 8 weeks ago, 12% from 4 weeks ago, and they're actually up last week, just barely 0.94%. When we look at their current hash rate is at 7.1. What they have bought currently is at 7.7. That's where they're going to be going to. So they still have quite a bit of growth left in them, which is good to see. Their BTC HODL is at 703. That's valued at about 19.6 million. Okay, BTC production here, you can see month to month how that has compared or how that's progressed. And they're getting close to their average line here, which is 431 Bitcoins going back to last year of September. So that's kind of the average. They've been below it a couple of times here, above it in May. Obviously, a lot of miners were above it in May as well because of the transaction fees on Bitcoin. And then we've been below it here the last 3 months, and we're getting pretty close to it again here in September. So that's good to see. You can see the BTC HODL value, hash rate left, BTC sold, BTC mined, BTC HODL on this chart here. And you can also see the month-over-month difference for BTC being mined. Have they improved that or not? And they have improved in the last 2 months, which is good to see. Their BTC HODL has also been growing here ever since last year in December here, where they were selling quite a bit of it. They had quite a big stack of Bitcoin HODL. They sold quite a lot here in the summertime and going into the fall. And then they obviously stopped towards the end of the year and have slowly started to increase that as well, which is good to see there. Their BTC per exahash efficiency is at 67.4 is what I have them at. With the network hash rate going up, it's understandable that that efficiency is going to be going down. BTC sold, this is what they've been selling each month here over the past year. Hash rate and revenue here. Hash rate, you can see, has also been increasing here pretty much every month, which is really great to see that they've been doing it. Nice steady growth here throughout the last year, it looks like. The value as far as what they're generating from Bitcoin, as we kind of up and down a little bit here, their best month was in May with 12.62 million, and that was based on the additional of transaction fees on the Bitcoin network. And then recently they've been kind of ranging around 10 million to 11 million or so in the last 4 months with revenue on that side. And you can see their hash rate difference here. For the most part, you can see they've had increases here except for a couple months here in the last year. Other than that, they've been growing pretty steadily, like I said. BTC sold value, this is how much they've been basically selling here. Last 4 quarters revenue, we've talked about this when we do the quarterly results, but you can see how things are stacking up right now. They actually had a really good Q2. Q3 right now looks about to be 32.85 million, which we ended obviously in September. And then the last 4 quarters operating costs have been pretty steady. They're up and down a little bit here, but not too bad. Okay, you can take a look at the other metrics here as well. BTC cost to mine BTC has been increasing, but it has been increasing also for a lot of miners. Bitcoin mined quarterly, unless you're really growing above the network hash rate, you're more than likely not generating more Bitcoins. And then debt to equity, we can see here, current ratio, total assets, and everything else. All right, we'll get back to this metric here in a little bit. My estimates for them as far as where they should be priced. When we look at the institutions and analyst ratings, we can see that institutions did increase here to 119, which is nice to see. Shares also increased to 40.5 million, and percentage owned also increased to 14.81, which is good to see. We still have only 2 buy ratings for them. No hold, no underperform, no sells. Price target pretty much stayed the same here as last month, $3 across the board. And then for the month of here, September, we'll take a look at what they installed. So they installed these 103 terahash miners, all of them. So they installed approximately, it was at 4.65 thousand of those. Based on what I could figure out, it could be some of these down here, but that's kind of the way I'm adding them in here. And then also I added in some of these 140 XPs, or I don't even know if they got rid of these or not. They didn't have too many of these to begin with. They only had, how many miners did they have here? They only had reported buying 1.2. This was on December 2nd of 2021, and miner S19J Pros XPs. But they reported this on that date. So I don't know if this actually went through or not, but this, we do have it here. I haven't heard anything that they didn't. So they might still have some of these in here, which they reported they're not having any XPs, which is kind of a surprise. Okay, but that's what I have in here. And then we still have all of these miners left to install. All in all, had them operating for about 30 days out of the month here, and the miners that got installed for about 28 days to get us to the 10.811 million in revenue, which coincides with the network, or not the network, well, the network average hash rate for the month, along with the Bitcoin average price for the month of September, which is what we got here, right? We're taking that 411 times the Bitcoin average price. We're getting 10.811 million roughly in revenue. And that's been pretty close to the numbers that we've been seeing here, reported from them and other miners as well. We're usually within a couple percentage points here. Okay, so that's kind of what we're looking at here, and 32.851 million for the quarter of September ending, and we'll see how they continue going forward into the Q4 numbers, which started basically today. And let's go into my estimates here. So looking at the last 3 quarters, what they mine, which are actual numbers, and then the current quarter that we're in also is an estimate number, so that's going to possibly change. Looking at them with a P of 20, I have them between $4.81, but that's based on the previous 9 months and, well, current quarter that we're in. Along with, if we look at 50% net income, we're looking at $4.81 for the stock price, and 75% net income at $7.22. They're currently at $1.09. Analysts have them at $3, and I think going forward, depending on where their hash rate increases and things like that, where Bitcoin goes in value. For this one, future estimates, I'm just taking the current month that they reported on September, multiplying it times the, I believe it's 6 months that we have until the halving event. If we look at it here, I'll point this out to you guys. I think it's 6 months. Yep, 6 months here until the halving event possibly going to be happening. So we're multiplying September numbers times 6 plus the 6 months after the halving event at 50% of the current revenue. And I got them at $3.77 to $5.65. So a little bit higher than the analysts have them, but not much. So we're really right in there. Okay. Now, their hash rate efficiency currently, based on my numbers here, is at 31. I think they reported. If those got installed here, they're a little bit higher. But currently, if they install these miners over here, everything else, I believe that, yeah, I don't have. I probably should include that one as well. Let me see here. Include that one. That might bring them down a little bit here. And let's see here. That one as well. Okay. So that still gets them to 31.45. So they definitely need to get some newer miners, get rid of some of these older miners here, which I already have basically being omitted out going forward. And I think after the end of the year, I'll take these out, swap them out for some of the other miners that are more efficient. Okay. But that's kind of what we're looking at right now. So they definitely need to get below that 30 watts per terahash, or 30 joules per terahash. Okay. So let me know what you guys think of Bitfarms. As you know, I'm invested in them. I'm rooting for them to do well. They're well diversified as it is. Their balance sheet is looking good. I think they're not going to have any problems going through the halving event. It all depends where Bitcoin is and everything else. But I would recommend for them to be cautious buying into the bull run miners unless they're getting an absolute great deal on them. Because typically, like I said before, Bitcoin price goes up, the price for miners goes up as well along with it. Okay, I wish that wasn't the case, but that's the way it is. So the best time to buy, in my opinion, is during the bear markets, which we're still kind of in a little bit right now. We haven't really gone full bull mode yet. I don't think that's going to happen until possibly after the halving event, a couple months after that.